saw a young lad cannonball into the lake to celebrate a capture, and the margin wasn't even a foot deep and he nearly broke his coccyx. Hello everyone, I saw a post on Facebook. It was about the most ridiculous things you've seen while you've been fishing, and I thought I'd share some of the comments. So I've got them all written in my phone, so here we go. There's another one. Saw a guy once going for a big cast. Absolutely pissed my pants with laughter when he hooked his pillow and cast it into the lake. Brilliant. And the next one. At a well-known fishery, a weirdo was fishing by himself and he asked the guy who caught a fish if he could have a picture with that fish. So somebody else caught the fish, but this fella wants to have a picture with it.
A what?
Everyone else thought it was weird, but we let him do it anyway. The next morning, the weirdo sent the picture to the fishery claiming it was his own fish. When the truth came out the next morning, the weirdo was banned. Oh, should he be banned? He ain't broke any rules. He's just a bullshitter. And I've heard this a few times, and I'm sure you've come across his tale as well. I know a guy who went for a crap and dropped it into the hood of his one-piece thermal suit. He only noticed later when he got cold and he put his hood on. It then went down his back. Well, most of it. Yes, I've heard that tale before. Having a crap, putting your hood up, and then you've got poo on your head. I managed to catch my rod, which was leaning against my bivvy, with my leading rod, and threw it over my head and into the lake. So he's cast his own rod out into the lake. Managed to get it back, but I felt like a right penis in front of the other fishermen. And the next one. Whilst fishing a match, I drew a peg with a large wasp's nest in a hole in the ground. After a couple of minutes I thought, sod this, and I told the bailiff I wasn't fishing there anymore. He said he'd sort it out and then put a smoke bomb in the hole. That really annoyed the wasps, and he ended up getting stung about 20 times. He jumped into the water to get the little uckers off him. A proper Chuckle Brothers moment.
I'm Mr. Skimwater's personal assistant, and I'm also a medium.
You're not.
I am.
You're not.
I am.
Are you?
Yes.
I'd have thought you were more of an extra large.
And the next one. Watched a bloke once throw a solid bag out so large it sounded like a depth charge when it hit the water. Then proceeded to float there for 5 minutes. That's what they do, don't it? If you're not poked any holes in, the PVA bags just float. So he's chucked a bag out that was huge. He then struck into a pasty like Jezza Wade hits Marlin or a Wells. 3 of us sat in the van, speechless, crying. And the next one. Saw a guy opposite had an inflatable bivvy. Blew half up. And then the wind took it, never to be seen again. Another time a young lad was trying to blag some maggots off me. I told him to go and get himself a couple of fat worms. Where do you get them from? He said. And this is the reason why some lakes ban drinking drugs. A guy on our club lake was pissed, so pissed he was trying to cook some food whilst laying on his bed chair. He set fire to his bivvy. He got up to try and pour some water on it, but kept falling over. He just ripped it out the ground and threw it into the lake. Laid on his bed chair and slept. We were watching from across the lake, almost wetting ourselves. 2 hours later, I had to go and see if he was okay, as it was now dark and quite cold. But he was gone. All that was left was his burnt bivvy and loads of empty cans. Not so much ridiculous, but a mate finally got a nice mirror carp out one trip, and just as he was holding it to try and get a good picture, the fish whipped his tail so hard it properly whipped him across the face and whipped his ciggy straight out of his mouth. That was a slap to the chops. Take that, you mother. Best thing I've ever witnessed. The noise and reaction on his face was priceless. 2 Polish lads caught a carp at Whitmore and banged it straight onto the disposable barbecue. Wow, I've never seen that. I've heard stories about them. There was one down at Wylands where some European lads were putting the carp straight into the boot of their car, and then they got caught and then got bang in trouble. But I've never heard of fish being put straight onto the barbecue. Using distance sticks to cast out two rod lengths. Using what? Why are you doing wraps for 2 rod lengths out? Now this one's pretty creative actually. It's quite funny. My mate filled a washing bowl up with bait and tied it to his rod, so he's trying to get bait out. He floated it out across the lake using the wind. When it got over his spot, he tried striking to flip the bowl over, but it didn't work and he just had to bring it back in. Good effort though. My mate was doing a pendulum cast. Hooked, you know what's going to happen. Hooked his tilly lamp and sent it 100 yards into the Clyde. Still cracks me up 25 years later. There's been quite a few of them, casting and hooking something. I've done it myself. Surface fishing you must mean. Surface fishing with a bite alarm on a lake full of geese and proceeded to fall asleep. Oh man, why would you do that? Surface fishing, you got to be on your toes, but with it on a bite alarm and you're asleep, you're gonna really pee people off. And the next one, I watched somebody have a number 2 in the grass at the side of their peg, and then the sun came out, the smell got bad and the flies, so he packed to move to another peg. Whilst undoing his umbrella guy rope, he forgot about his turd and trod in his own poo. Instant karma. Oh, why are you watching him anyway? Not take his tackle up the bank when he was told there was a boat coming in 10 minutes. Funniest thing I've seen, watching his box float into the middle of the river and sink. What a nightmare. Night fishing, back in the 80s with my pal, hearing a big scream, the kind of small girl would make. When he was woken by a slug almost entering his mouth. Oh, grim. I When I used to night fish in the early days, I didn't have a bed chair. All I had was a brolly, and I thought I want to keep dry on the ground. So I used to put a plastic sheet on the ground, and that was my bed. A rock hard, muddy bank. I put a plastic sheet down, and I remember laying there like this, waking up, and I had snail or slug trails across my chest. So I had slugs and snails crawling over my body while I slept. Things you do when you're skinned. And this one, not many words to this one. It just says hump a tree. So he's watched somebody hump a tree. I don't know what that means. And this is, I feel quite sorry for this one. A guy in France was blanking for 3 days. Everyone was catching, so the bailiff asked him what he was using. PVA bags, came the reply, but he had no hook bait on. He thought the hook bait was the he thought the PVA bag that he'd hooked on was the hook bait, so he actually had no bait hanging on his hair rig. Poor fella, he's inexperienced. I bet he's never lived that one down. Saw an angler set up his rod and cast it out, but he never set the you know what's going to happen. He never set the clutch, and his rod went straight into the lake, never to be seen again. And this is the last one for this video. Once saw a fella cast and knock the bloke out on the opposite bank with a 3-ounce lead. I've always wondered that, you know, it must have happened more than just this once. And he hooked him behind the ear. Ow. Know when you're snagged up or you've cast into a tree and you can't get it out and you wind up tight, start walking away and you're just waiting for that lead to fly out of the tree and smack you in the back of the head. Actually, let's do one more. Spotting on top of spawning fish has got to be right up there for me. That is not good. It's obvious when fish are spawning. You need to just give them a break, leave them alone. So thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you've got any of your own stories of what you've seen on the bank, please drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your tales as well. Thanks for watching again. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.